Chapter 1. How many kinds of principalities there are, and by what means they are acquired. In this chapter, I lay out the divisions among all states that have ever governed men. They are either republics, which I set aside here having treated them elsewhere, or principalities. Principalities are hereditary, long ruled by one family, or entirely new. New ones may be wholly fresh acquisitions or joined to an existing realm. They are won by a ruler's own arms and skill, by the arms of others, by fortune's favor, or by personal ability. Some states have long submitted to princely rule, others have tasted freedom. These differences matter above all, for the manner of acquisition shapes every difficulty of holding power. A wise prince must therefore study how each kind arises before he attempts to seize or keep it, lest fortune or ignorance undo him at the first test. Thus does one begin to master the art of rule. Chapter 2. Concerning hereditary principalities. Here I show why hereditary principalities are far easier to maintain than new ones. A prince born to the throne need only follow the customs of his ancestors and adapt with ordinary prudence to changing times. His subjects have grown accustomed to his bloodline. They expect no sudden upheaval and will not rebel unless some extraordinary force drives them. Even then, a hereditary ruler who loses his estate once can recover it with far less effort than a new man who must build everything from nothing. The bonds of habit and memory bind the people more firmly than any law or army. Therefore, I counsel every prince fortunate enough to inherit his realm to guard tradition and avoid needless innovation, for stability flows naturally from what men have always known. Concerning mixed principalities. In treating new principalities, I warn that they bring endless troubles. Men change masters, hoping for better, yet quickly feel the burdens of new troops, new taxes, and new injuries. Those who welcome the change become enemies when their hopes are dashed, while those who opposed it remain hostile. A prudent ruler must therefore reside in the new state, plant colonies, disarm the powerful, and win the weak. He must foresee every possible rebellion and crush it before it grows. Mixed principalities, part old and part new, demand still greater care, for old customs clash with new demands. Yet he who masters these difficulties early binds the state to himself more securely than any hereditary lord who rules by mere habit. Conquered by Alexander did not rebel against the successors of Alexander at his death. I examine why some conquered realms remain quiet after the conqueror's death, while others rise in revolt. When a state has been governed by one prince and his ministers, with all power flowing from a single center, the death of that prince leaves no rivals. The new master need only replace the head and the body follows. But when a realm is divided among many barons, each holding his own authority, the conqueror must destroy every noble line or risk endless war. A centralized state yields more readily to a single strong hand. A fragmented one resists because every baron can rally his own followers. Thus the wise prince studies the inner structure of any realm he seizes, for the form of government dictates the force required to hold it. Concerning the way to govern cities or principalities, which lived under their own laws before they were annexed. Cities or provinces long accustomed to their own laws and freedom are the hardest to hold. Three courses lie open: ruin them utterly, go live there yourself, or let them keep their laws under a loyal oligarchy that answers to you. The first is safest, for free men never forget liberty and will seize any chance to rebel. The second costs much, but binds them by daily presence. The third is weakest, because such governors will always intrigue. Republics in particular remember their ancient glory and cannot be pacified by half measures. Therefore, I advise any prince who acquires such a state either to destroy it completely or to dwell within it, for mercy here breeds only future war. Concerning new principalities which are acquired by one's own arms and ability. New principalities won by one's own arms and ability are the most glorious, yet the most difficult. The innovator faces enemies among all who profited from the old order, and finds only lukewarm friends among those who hope to profit from the new. Men resist change because they distrust what they have not seen. Success demands force, swift punishment of opponents, and the destruction of every rival who might restore the past. Yet once the founder has overcome these obstacles, his estate rests on a firm foundation. I therefore praise those princes who rely on their own virtue rather than fortune, for what they build endures. Fortune may give a throne, but only ability keeps it. Concerning new principalities which are acquired either by the arms of others or by good fortune, those who rise by the arms of others or by mere fortune face a different fate. They enter power without roots. They owe everything to favor or luck. When that favor shifts or fortune turns, they possess neither the strength nor the loyalty to stand alone. A wise ruler in this position must act at once, eliminate threats, secure his own troops, win popular support, and lay foundations that do not depend on others. Delay invites ruin. He who builds quickly on fortune's gift may yet make it his own. He who trusts fortune alone will lose everything when she changes. Thus I counsel speed, ruthlessness, and self-reliance the moment chance places a crown upon your head. Concerning those who have obtained a principality by wickedness. Principalities gained through wickedness require special handling. A man who seizes power by crime must commit all his cruelties at once, swiftly and completely, so that men grow accustomed to them and forget. Benefits should follow gradually, so that they are savored. Cruelty used well is done once and for the people's safety. Cruelty used badly is repeated and breeds hatred. A prince who follows this rule can secure his estate. One who hesitates or spreads terror piecemeal will never rest. I do not praise wickedness, yet I say that when necessity forces such a path, it must be traveled with precision and without remorse, for half measures destroy both prince and realm. Concerning a civil principality. A civil principality arises when a leading citizen becomes prince by the favor of his fellows rather than by force or fortune. Such a state is more secure when founded on the people than on the nobles, for the people seek only not to be oppressed, while the nobles seek to oppress. A prince who rests on the people can always arm them in time of danger, whereas one who rests on the nobles must fear them even in peace. Therefore, I advise winning the people's goodwill above all. It is the only sure shield when fortune turns hostile. Nobles are changeable. The multitude, once satisfied, remains loyal. Concerning the way in which the strength of all principalities ought to be measured. A principality's true strength is measured by whether the prince can stand alone in time of need, or must always beg aid from others. A ruler who possesses his own troops, fortified cities, and loyal subjects can withstand any assault. He should keep the people content, protect their interests, and turn every enemy attack to his advantage by showing that he alone can defend them. A prince who lacks these resources will collapse at the first storm. Thus I counsel every ruler to build his own forces and fortifications while peace lasts, for reliance on allies or mercenaries is a chain that fortune may break at any moment. Chapter 11. Concerning ecclesiastical principalities. Ecclesiastical principalities are acquired by ability or fortune, yet held without either. They rest on ancient religious ordinances so powerful that no prince's conduct can shake them. Subjects remain loyal, regardless of how the ruler lives or rules. The sacred order sustains the state. A prince in such a realm need neither defend it with arms nor govern with prudence, for divine authority does the work. Yet I note that once these states are seized by a temporal prince, they behave like any other. Still, while they remain under religious governance, they enjoy a security no other principality can match. Chapter 12. How many kinds of soldiery there are, and concerning mercenaries. I divide soldiery into 3 kinds: mercenaries, auxiliaries, and one's own troops. Mercenaries are useless and dangerous, costing much in peace and fleeing in war. Auxiliaries, borrowed from another power, bring the same perils plus the risk of foreign domination. Only a prince's own troops, raised from his subjects or loyal citizens, fight with true commitment. A state that relies on foreign arms will never be secure. Therefore, every wise ruler must build and maintain his own forces, training them in peace so they stand ready in war. Arms are the foundation of all power. Without them, a prince is naked before fortune and enemies alike. Concerning auxiliaries, mixed soldiery, and one's own. Relying on mixed or foreign soldiery invites ruin. Such troops lack loyalty. They serve for pay or fear, not love of the prince. When danger comes, they either desert or turn against their employer. A prince who arms strangers arms his own destruction. I therefore urge every ruler to dismiss all auxiliaries and mercenaries at the earliest moment and raise troops from his own people. Only native forces, bound by shared interest and habit, will fight to the end. Self-reliance in arms is the first mark of a strong state. Dependence on others is the certain road to servitude. That which concerns a prince on the subject of the art of war. A prince must make the art of war his sole study and occupation. In peace he should train his mind and body for battle, study terrain, organize drills, and read the deeds of great captains. War is the only profession that preserves a state. Neglect of it causes loss of both state and honor. A ruler who knows nothing of arms cannot command respect from soldiers or fear from enemies. I counsel every prince to live as a warrior, even when no war threatens, for fortune favors the prepared. Idleness in military matters breeds contempt. Constant preparation breeds victory. Concerning things for which men, and especially princes, are praised or blamed. Men praise certain virtues in princes and blame certain vices. Yet a ruler who wishes to survive cannot always practice the praised qualities. Liberality, mercy, and faith are lauded, but they can ruin a state if carried to excess. I therefore say a prince must appear to possess every virtue, while being ready to abandon any when necessity demands. He should avoid vices that destroy his power, yet embrace those that preserve it. Reputation matters, but survival matters more. The wise prince adapts his conduct to the times and to the needs of the realm, for rigid goodness invites ruin, while flexible prudence secures the throne. Chapter 16. Concerning liberality and meanness. Liberality wins praise, but exhausts a prince's resources and forces him to tax his people, breeding hatred. Meanness, though blamed, preserves treasure, allows generous defense spending, and keeps subjects unburdened. A prudent ruler will therefore seem liberal with what he has taken from enemies and appear mean with his own. He who spends lavishly to seem generous will soon become poor and despised. Economy in peace builds strength for war. I counsel every prince to guard his purse as he guards his life, for wealth is the sinew of power, and poverty its certain enemy. Concerning cruelty and clemency, and whether it is better to be loved than feared. It is far safer to be feared than loved, for love is held by a slender thread of obligation that breaks when interest pulls the other way, while fear is fastened by dread of punishment that never loosens. A prince must avoid hatred above all, yet he may use cruelty when it serves the public good. Swift, necessary severity wins respect. Prolonged or pointless cruelty breeds revolt. I therefore advise that a ruler inspire fear without hatred, for men will obey one they fear more readily than one they merely love. Mercy misused invites disorder. Calculated severity maintains order. Concerning the way in which princes should keep faith, a prince must learn to break his word when keeping it would harm him, and when the reasons for the promise have vanished. Men are wicked, and will not keep faith with you. Therefore you need not keep faith with them. Yet a prince should appear merciful, faithful, humane, upright and religious, for men judge by appearances, and few see what you truly are. The end justifies the means. Success excuses any breach. I counsel flexibility above all. The lion cannot escape traps, nor the fox fight wolves, but he who is both lion and fox endures. That one should avoid being despised and hated. A prince must avoid being despised or hated. Contempt comes from fickleness, frivolity, effeminacy, or cowardice. Hatred from rapacity or injury to honor and property. He who is esteemed by his subjects need fear no conspiracies, for the people will not rise against one they respect. Arms and popular goodwill together form the strongest defense. I therefore urge every ruler to cultivate a reputation for strength, constancy, and justice, while guarding his subjects' goods and women. Esteem prevents plots. Hatred invites them. A prince who is both feared and respected walks secure amid any storm. Are fortresses and many other things to which princes often resort advantageous or hurtful? Fortresses are useful or harmful according to circumstance. They help a prince who fears his own people more than foreigners, yet they become useless or dangerous if the people hate him. A ruler who arms his subjects and wins their love needs no fortress. One who disarms them and breeds hatred will find every wall a prison. I counsel weighing popular sentiment before building. Better to be loved and mobile than hated and enclosed. Fortifications without loyalty are mere stone. Loyalty without fortifications is true strength. How a prince should conduct himself as to gain renown. A prince gains renown by bold enterprises and by choosing clear sides in disputes between neighbors. Neutrality invites contempt from both victor and vanquished. He should also honor those who excel in arts and arms, reward merit, and give public festivals that keep the people engaged yet orderly. Great actions impress men and bind them to their ruler. I advise every prince to seize every opportunity for glory, for nothing maintains a state so firmly as the admiration of its subjects and the fear of its enemies. Concerning the secretaries of princes. The choice of ministers reveals a prince's own wisdom. A ruler is judged by the quality of those around him. He should select men of ability, loyalty, and diligence, rewarding them so they have no need to seek wealth elsewhere. A prince who chooses wisely gains credit for every success. One who chooses poorly shares blame for every failure. I counsel testing counselors carefully and keeping them dependent on your favor alone, for faithful servants are the eyes and hands with which a prince sees and acts throughout the realm. How flatterers should be avoided. Flatterers are the plague of courts. A prince who allows them will hear only what pleases him and will soon lose the truth. The remedy is to choose a few wise men and allow them to speak freely on matters you ask about, then decide alone. He who listens to everyone becomes contemptible. He who trusts no one becomes isolated. I advise balancing counsel with solitary judgment, for the best prince hears good advice yet remains master of his own will. Flattery blinds, frankness, when controlled, illuminates. The princes of Italy have lost their states. Princes lose their states through idleness, failure to prepare in peace, or reliance on fortune rather than virtue. A ruler who arms his people, avoids hatred, and builds strong foundations will not fall easily. Those who lose their realms usually do so because they neglected the arts of war or alienated their subjects. I therefore remind every prince that security is earned daily, not granted once. Fortune favors the vigilant, neglect invites ruin. He who wishes to keep what he has must never cease to guard it. What fortune can effect in human affairs and how to withstand her. Fortune governs half our actions, yet leaves the other half to our own control. She resembles a raging river that floods when unchecked, but can be tamed by embankments built in calm times. A prince who adapts his conduct to the times prospers. One who clings to old ways perishes when circumstances change. Boldness often conquers fortune where caution fails, for she favors the young and the daring. I counsel every ruler to study the times and strike when opportunity appears, for fortune yields to those who seize her rather than wait passively for her gifts. An exhortation to liberate Italy from the barbarians. Here I exhort every worthy prince to seize the present opportunity to liberate and unify a divided realm long oppressed by strangers. Native valor has never been lacking, only leadership has been absent. With your own troops, prudent strategy, and divine favor, such a task can be accomplished swiftly and gloriously. No enterprise is more just, no cause more beloved by the people. I urge you to take up this banner with courage, for fortune now smiles on the bold and the prepared. Act, and the realm will follow. Hesitate, and opportunity passes forever. Thus does a new prince write his name in history.